Hello, and welcome to Becoming Relentless. I am your host, Tom Alvarez. Happy to be here with you today as we embark on this journey of self-discovery, growth, and transformation. Welcome to another episode. In today's episode, I want to talk to you about our gut and our gut feelings. No, I don't mean your intuition. I'm talking about when you stress eat and you end up eating junk food. For as long as I can remember, I have been dealing with a lot of gut issues. From acid reflux to bloating to many others that I'm not going to get into. Some foods that I would eat would spark that obvious rejection, whether it was a physical one or an emotional one. It wasn't until recently that I realized this wasn't just about digestion. It was about something much deeper. The brain-gut connection. Now, what is the brain-gut connection? The brain-gut connection is the two-way communication between your brain and your digestive system. It's not just about the food processing aspect of it. It's also the complex dialogue involving nerves, hormones, and the immune system. When you are stressed, as we all know, we tend to eat. At least most of us do, right? And when we eat, we're not going to go for the apple or the nice banana. We're not going to go for that. We're going to go for the chips. We're going to go for the cookies. We're going to go for the candy. We're going to go for the sugary foods. These foods create a short-term serotonin boost that temporarily improves our mood. Because of this, we tend to, of course, gravitate more towards them. When we are stressed, our body activates the flight or fight response, flooding our systems with hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. This diverts energy away from the digestion, which can lead to an upset stomach, poor nutrition absorption, and long-term gut imbalances, right? And that also affects our mind. The emotional connection between food and mood can become a dangerous cycle if left unchecked. And that's the problem that I've been having for as long as I can remember. When we find ourselves in that chronic stress, that kind you just cannot get away from no matter what you do, we tend to gravitate towards the junk foods, like I mentioned earlier. And this chronic stress, what it could do, it could affect your immune system. Some of the things that people tend to feel, I know I've felt bloatingness. Some people develop irritable bowel syndrome or IBS, constipation, and a few others. Studies have shown that the brain and the gut share a receptor for neurotransmitters like serotonin, which we all know it regulates the mood. This overlap explains why anxiety or depression often show up alongside with digestive issues. Stress can also weaken the intestinal lining, trigger inflammation, which is where the bloating comes from, and interfere with nutrient absorption. 80% of our immune system is in the gut. So the connection between the gut and the overall well being becomes impossible to ignore. Now, let me ask you this. Do you consider yourself an emotional eater? I know I have been. And have you ever found yourself raiding the fridge when you're not even hungry? That's emotional eating. And it's driven by the feeling rather than the physical hunger. Some of those emotional triggers that I want you to be aware of can be negative, like stress, sadness, anxiety, which I have felt quite a bit lately, more than before. Some of the positives are celebration, love, excitement, and sometimes when we're in that neutral zone, when we're just bored or in a routine, we're always eating. Think about this, right? Whenever we have our major holiday like Thanksgiving or Christmas, there's always food around. Think about Halloween, my favorite holiday, by the way, is riddled with candies and sugars and you name it. It's a sugar fest. And understanding these things is going to help you move forward. When you understand that emotional cycle and the reason why you're eating, it's going to help you regulate your body better. And if you're a person that struggles with weight, just like I have been for most of my life, you need to pay attention to what you're eating and why. I mean, I know this is no news to you, but it's something to remind ourselves of doing it. Emotional eating often follows a predictable loop, right? When you have a strong emotion like stress or boredom, you reach for food to soothe it. You feel temporarily better, and then the guilt and shame creeps in immediately after, and you eat again to cope with it. So it's a vicious cycle. The food becomes emotionally charged. As a society, we always celebrate with food. Think about it, right? We have the holidays, birthday, team launches, or after work drinking. These events strengthen that emotional bond that we have with food. But unfortunately, it also reinforces the idea that food is a reward. And I want you to think about how many times have you said to yourself, I deserve this after a hard day. Now, I know you may be asking yourself, how do I break this cycle? How do I stop myself from doing this? And I know it's easier said than done, but it comes with awareness and mindfulness eating. All right, when you're eating, try not to watch TV. Just focus on the food, focus on that feeling, focus on that emotion that you're feeling as you're eating it right then and there. We had to manage our emotional eating. And this first step is self-awareness. Identify those triggers. What situation, places, or thoughts make you crave food? Or what emotions are you feeling when you're eating them? There are alternatives for emotional eating. We could redirect that energy from that anxious and fear-based energy that we have, and we could take it out on exercise, or we could go for a walk, we could call a friend, we could listen to music, we could practice deep breathing meditations. The one that I practice the most lately, more than ever, has been box breathing. Is when you breathe in to a count of 4, hold it to a count of 4, release it for 4, and then hold it for 4, and then start the cycle again. These activities activate your parasympathetic nervous system, helping your body shift out of fight or flight mode and into the state of calm and connection. Now you may be saying, okay, this is all well and done. That's great. Good to know. Fantastic. But what if I slip up? What if I have a bad day and I just say, fuck it, I don't care about any of this stuff? Well, setbacks do happen. But what mattered the most is how you respond. Don't shame yourself. Be kind to yourself. Because if you shame yourself and you start coming down on yourself really hard, all it's going to do is going to bring you back to the beginning of the eating cycle. And then you're going to start it all over again. And it defeats the purpose of what you're trying to do. One of the things that I've been learning to do is I'm preparing ahead, right? I meal prep. And I know you might be saying, oh, that's a lot of work. But it's actually easier than you think. All you really have to do is just make some dishes that you could save for the week. Get rid of all the junk food in the house and only have nutritious foods. Read the labels. Make sure that you have those healthy snacks accessible. One of the things that you have to remember is that you have to practice self-compassion because we often are our own worst critics. And we come down on ourselves so hard because we make one mistake. But if we take the time and just realize that, hey, I just messed up today, that's okay. That's not the end of the road. That's not the end of your journey. That's just nothing but a minor blip in your existence. So just don't be hard on yourself. We tend to emotionally eat all the time, and it is up to us to begin a healthier lifestyle. When you think about the gut and brain axis and how it plays a crucial role in shaping our experience of life, from mood to memory to digestions and diseases, when you think about those things, you need to start to realize, shit, I need to start doing something. I need to start taking better care of myself. And it all begins with your mind. And then you have to be mindful about what you're eating. When you begin to understand this connection, you gain the power to support your well-being from the mind to the body. Managing the stress, eating mindfully, and becoming aware of those emotional triggers are not just a nice to-do thing. They are essential for your health, whether it's physical or mental. That emotional resilience that you build as you're doing it, it's going to help you continue to improve your overall health. We must always remember that we are not perfect. And I know I've said this quite a bit throughout this episode, but we are not. We are not perfect, and that's okay. There is nothing in life that is perfect. The only thing in life that I consider to be perfect is nature. Nature is perfect at being imperfect. You're not always going to have it all figured out every single day, and that's okay. You'll pick it up the next day. Remember that life, it's a marathon and it's not a sprint. So be mindful, have awareness, and continue moving forward. And never give up, because your life depends on it. And ultimately, the only person that could do this is you. No one else but you. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you enjoyed this conversation, please subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with someone who might need a little extra inspiration. And remember, every small step you take is a step towards a better you. I can't wait to chat with you next time about more self-development tips and practical ways to turn obstacles into opportunities. Until then, be kind to yourself, and remember, your thoughts don't define you. You do. Onward, forward.